Hi, I'm Judge Chris Bragg, Chief District Court Judge for Union County. Welcome to This Is Your Court. This program is designed to inform citizens of Union County about our third branch of government, the judicial branch. In previous shows, we've discussed the courts with judges, the district attorney, our sheriff, the clerk of Superior Court, and various agencies that work within our court system. I hope these shows have been helpful to our viewers in understanding the duties of court officials and how they interact. Oftentimes I hear from citizens that they know very little about candidates running for judicial offices, especially those at the state level. In an effort to help educate the public before the next general election, we will be airing a series of interviews with candidates for the North Carolina Supreme Court and the North Carolina Court of Appeals. These candidates for these very important judicial offices run in statewide, nonpartisan elections. This Is Your Court has invited each candidate running in a statewide contested judicial election to appear on this program and to share with you their qualifications and vision for the offices they seek. We're excited that each candidate has accepted our offer to appear, and these interviews will run daily through Election Day, November 4th, 2008. The fact that any candidate appears on This Is Your Court is not an endorsement from me, this program, or Union County. And to ensure fairness, each candidate has received an advance copy of the questions I'll be asking. Now, joining me at this time is Judge Doug McCullough of the North Carolina Court of Appeals. Judge, welcome to our program.
Glad to be here. Thank you very much.
We appreciate you coming to Union County and to introduce yourselves to our viewers. And I'd like to start, if you could you tell us what office you're seeking and the duties of that particular office?
I'm seeking re-election to the seat that I now hold on the North Carolina Court of Appeals. I was first elected in the 2000 elections, and so we have 8-year terms, and hence this is my year of re-election.
Okay. And who is your opponent in the general election?
I have a district court judge named Cherry Beasley from Fayetteville, North Carolina, who has sought my seat.
Okay. Judge, I think we've done this with every interview, is really have the candidates tell us about your background, where you're from, educational experience, that type of information.
Okay. I grew up in Swansboro, North Carolina. For those of you who are familiar with the Central Coast, that's right between Morehead City and Jacksonville. Atlantic Beach is the nearest beach destination, or Emerald Isle, where many people have summer homes. And I live now in Atlantic Beach, so I'm almost back home. Good place to live and a great place to visit and a great place to fish for any of the folks out there who would like to do that. After graduation from Swansboro High School, went to UNC, South Carolina Law School, and on to my first job, which was a judge advocate in the Marine Corps. And from there, I ended up doing other things. But that's where I grew up. And I guess, did you want me to get into my work career, or does that come later?
Judge, and we'll do that. And I just want to say, this is not an endorsement of your candidacy, but I will endorse Swansboro. I also am a graduate of Swansboro High School and was a Marine Judge Advocate, so we've been similar paths. But yes, tell us about where you went to undergraduate in your law school, and then talk about your work history.
Well, I went to UNC undergrad and South Carolina Law School, where I was a member of the Law Review and chairman of the Honor Council, and then I went into the Marine Corps. I think you know exactly what I did if you were there. OCS, the summer of '68. I interned at the Department of Justice in Washington, D.C. in '69 and went on active duty in '70 to '74. My last duty station was an instructor at Naval Justice School in Newport, Rhode Island. After I left the Marine Corps active duty, I stayed active in the reserves. I don't know if you've done that or not.
A little bit.
But I never did legal programs in the reserves. I was in an artillery battery, and then I retrained as an intelligence officer while commanding a counterintelligence team, was a civil affairs group, commanded the Raleigh unit, which was a supply company, and then spent the rest of my career in the Marine Corps intelligence field.
And could you tell us about your professional legal experience outside of the Marine Corps?
Well, my first job outside of the Marine Corps, I was a federal prosecutor in the organized crime program in Philadelphia. We did go after organized crime in a different fashion. We had agents from all the federal agencies co-assigned to us, and working out of our offices so that we knew everything that they were working on that might be of a organized crime related nature. I did that for about 4 years before moving to the Senate. I was counsel with the Senate Ethics Committee for 2 years, and then 2 years with a legislative director of one of the senators who had been on the committee, a former astronaut from New Mexico by the name of Jack Schmidt. Senator Schmidt was on the Ethics Committee and had hired me from that. He was one of the last men to walk on the moon, former astronaut, as I said. During the movie Apollo 13, he was the one who solved the simulation problem that allowed the crew members to come back, so he could not be denied a seat on that final mission. After leaving the Ethics Committee and while I was working for Senator Schmidt, I was eventually offered a position back in North Carolina as the first assistant, which is the senior assistant in the U.S. Attorney's Office in Raleigh. And so I did that until I was given early retirement from the Department of Justice. In 1996, I was in private practice for 4 years. After that with the firm of Stubbs and Purdue out of New Bern, and then elected, as I said, in 2000. So I have sat in every seat in the courtroom. I've tried cases as a criminal defense attorney, prosecuted cases as a prosecutor, and actually had tried civil cases to jury verdict on both sides of the aisle, both for people who are suing somebody and defending folks who are being sued.
Judge, why are you seeking to retain your seat on the North Carolina Court of Appeals?
Well, I kind of like what I do, just like you. I have authored over 800 opinions and written 2,000 opinions. Also, we have a judicial retirement system, and obviously you don't want to leave the system when you could maximize your retirement after having gone down this path. I don't want to go back to private practice and have to rebuild that practice now that I've joined the ranks of the judiciary. And I think it's actually in the best interest of the state that we retain trained judges, and I'm sure you might agree with that.
What characteristics do you think are important for appellate judges at our state level?
The appellate judges need to have a breadth of experience. You need to have tried cases and been involved in the trial of cases at all different levels, because we are the error-correcting court. Once you've had a trial in the district court in a criminal case, you get to, if you don't like that result, you get to appeal it to the Superior Court and have a jury trial. If you've had a civil case in the district court, whether it's a small fender-bender traffic accident that you might have presided over, or a family law case, you appeal that to our court. Any case from the Superior Court is also appealed to our court, whether it's civil or criminal, as well as administrative appeals from a variety of state agencies. So the broader your background is and the broader your experience is, the better you will be able to determine whether that trial that was conducted fairly and competently, or if there were errors made, were they so prejudicial that a new trial should be granted. As has been said many times, there probably is no trial that's perfect, but you need to be able to determine the difference.
Okay. Judge, what life experiences have prepared you to continue to serve on the Court of Appeals?
Well, I would say that my whole background has been in and around the courts, and from the time I was a judge advocate and then began working in the organized crime strike force program. The only time I was not working with the court system was when I was in Washington. And even when I was with the Senate Ethics Committee, I was involved in the investigation of Senator Herman Talmadge of Georgia, and that was in effect a trial before the Senate Ethics Committee on his financial irregularities. I did learn in the 2 years I worked as a legislative director that while that's quite interesting, I did not want to be a lobbyist, and I was very happy to get back to the courts. So if I had a life experience that said, is working in the court system where you want to be, I would say yes. I worked on Capitol Hill for a member of Congress, and I saw where that leads to lobbying, and begging Congress for favors was not something I wanted to do.
Okay. From your seat on the Court of Appeals, what do you see to be the most pressing challenges facing the Court of Appeals, and what, if reelected, do you think you could do to meet those challenges?
Well, the basic thing that we have to do on the Court of Appeals is just keep up. We have a big volume of cases coming in, and we need to be able to meet our backlog. At the Court of Appeals, we've actually done a couple of things that are fairly innovative to help that process out. One we have, which I'm proud of because I participate in it, is we have a mediation program where we've all gone through the mediation training, and the litigants, if they desire, it's a voluntary program, not mandatory, but if they desire, they can request that we mediate the case, and if we have settled enough cases through the mediation program to pass for at least one term of court per year that we don't have to hold because those cases settled out. And so that's, I think, an innovation that is good for the people of North Carolina, because that means they don't have to hire and employ more judges and pay salaries and whatnot to do that, because we've been able to become more efficient. The other thing we've done, and this directly impacts the district court where you preside, we have termination of parental rights cases have been placed on an expedited docket. We have a rule for that called Rule 3A, which places them on an expedited docket, and we are now turning those termination of parental cases out a little bit faster than we used to. I mean, there's still going to be some time of delay in any appellate case because the lawyers have to have time to write the briefs, and then it has to be scheduled to be heard by the court, and we have to have enough time to produce an opinion that details why our ruling came out the way it did. So those time frames are always going to be there, but being mindful that children's lives are in limbo and that these are important decisions for these families involved, we have expedited this, and our chief judge does not routinely grant extensions of time, continuances. He wants to find out exactly how much time do you need, and so you might have asked for 30, you might get for 10 days, you know, if that's all you really need. And so everything we can do to push those cases along, we have done. And as far as meeting the challenges of the court system, we really don't meet the challenges of the court system. We meet the challenges of our chambers, making sure that our chambers is running efficiently, that we write clear, lucid opinions. Yes, legal writing can be clear. I teach that at UNC Law School. And that the public can understand why it is that we ruled in a particular case a particular way.
Okay. Judge, what would you like to say to the citizens of Union County about your candidacy for the Court of Appeals?
Well, I would like to say to them that I think I have the experience to continue serving the people of this state and would very much like their help in doing that. I think I have the background that they would want their judges to have. I have served my country as a Marine. I have been a lawyer since 1970. I have defended people. I have prosecuted people who I thought needed prosecuting on behalf of the United States government. I have been involved in civil cases involving individuals as well as small businesses and corporations, and have a great deal of the type of experience that you need to be at our level. Since being on the court, I've ruled in numerous cases, some of which they might have heard of, such as red light cameras with the money going to the school system, or some, but most of the cases they probably wouldn't have heard of. We rule in day-to-day cases involving people who have been in traffic accidents, people who have been injured by medical malpractice. We rule in cases involving state employees who feel that they've been fired or terminated improperly, and all sorts of other cases that people just wouldn't have heard of on a day-to-day basis, but they're essential to our operation of a system of justice. And I would request that they go out and tell their family and friends who the incumbent judge is for this that they have heard about, and educate them to the background that I have so that they can make an informed choice for this particular seat.
Judge McCullough, thank you for taking the time to share your background and your qualifications with the viewers and citizens of Union County. I know it's going to be helpful for the voters in the general election. And viewers, please remember that if you have not registered to vote, you have until October 10th, 2008 to do so. You can register in person at the Union County Board of Elections, or pick up and complete a voter registration application from the Department of Social Services, any public library, a county high school, or the North Carolina Department of Motor Vehicles. Additionally, you can download an application from the Union County Board of Elections website. One last but important point. Remember, all judicial elections, both local and statewide, are nonpartisan. So if you vote a straight party ticket and leave the voting booth, you will have left without voting for any of the judges. Make sure you locate the judicial races on your ballot and cast your vote for the candidate of your choice. Thank you for watching, and until next time, I'm Judge Chris Bragg, and this is your court.